News Radio 1000 KTOK. Yes, it is time for our Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation update, because Randy Carter is here with me in the studio. You know him as the Director of Strategic Communications. Now, when I'm on good behavior, I say we talk about Access Oklahoma. But when I'm not on good behavior, I call it Excess Oklahoma. And Randy Carter, I think I got this from you. 13 turnpikes, 630 miles in the state of Oklahoma.
Yes, I believe we have in Oklahoma the highest per capita rate, miles per capita of the citizens in Oklahoma. We have some of the most miles in the state, in the whole United States, of turnpike miles.
And aren't we proud?
Yes, we are. Well, and we're especially proud since only 3 of the 11 turnpikes make enough money to pay their own way. Those 3 pay the way of all the rest of the turnpikes.
So the other 10 turnpikes don't make enough money. That's higher math. 13 minus
11.
3. Oh, 11.
It's 11, I believe. Isn't that right?
Wait a minute.
Too many.
Wait a minute. We haven't formally introduced our special guest.
Yes.
Tassie Hirschfeld is here, and she, among a lot of other things, was the lead plaintiff in the original open meeting lawsuit. Thank you so much for trekking up from Norman and from Cleveland County. Let's remind everyone, 3 turnpikes they're proposing to put through Cleveland County?
Yes, 3. Well, actually, one of them is part in Oklahoma County. That is the Tri-City Connector, which will connect to the turnpike coming through Mustang that's there now, the Kilpatrick that extends into Mustang out by the airport, and then the east-west connector will go from Newcastle east to where it connects at I-40, where the Kickapoo connects at I-40, and then off of that there's a proposed southern extension that goes right through the city of Norman in the suburban area out by Lake Thunderbird, which is greatly of concern to us.
Okay. You all are members of a group called the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation. You have a Facebook page, No More Turnpikes. You have a Pike Off OTA informational place as well. Why are you here?
Well, I can speak for myself. I'm here because the dadgum Turnpike has proposed to take out my living room, the home and the corner that I've lived on since 1979. I'm a little bit attached to it, and that's what got me involved in this. But you know, that's not the reason. They would call me a NIMBY, not in my own backyard.
Right.
But just because I'm a NIMBY doesn't mean I don't deserve good government. The more I've been involved, in the Pike Off group with Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation, the more I find out about how the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority operates. People like our guest Tassie Hirschfeld and others have done great research in bringing out a lot of things that just don't pass the smell test about the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority.
Yes.
And what's interesting, and I want to preface this just a little bit.
Yes, because we really need to give Tassie a better introduction.
One of the things that I think is really cool that Tassie has done, and she'll have to clarify the exact details, but she spent quite a bit of time in Cuba studying the communist Castro regime, and I believe I'm correct that you have made some comparisons with that system and the way the turnpike system is working. Am I correct in that, Tassie?
It's not far off. It's a very authoritarian state within the state. They're accountable to no one, and they take in a huge amount of money with no accountability. So yes, it does feel very late Soviet in a lot of ways.
I'm speechless.
Are we
passing out cigars to go with that?
Yeah, at least we could get a good Cuban cigar from the Turnpike Authority.
We should also mention that Tassie is a faculty member at the University of Oklahoma, but is here as a private citizen because is it going through your property too, Tassie?
It would be my neighbor. So I live on 15 acres in East Norman, a beautiful custom home. My late husband was an artist. He designed it, and it would be right next to me. It would take out my neighbor's house. It would take out the subdivision just down the street, and it would be an environmental and an aesthetic disaster.
So you are here. You know, they keep saying they're going to shift it. Are they going to shift it a mile? Are they going to shift it 3 miles? Are they going to, all that?
Well, we don't know the answer to that, and I think one of the reasons we don't know the answer to that is because the Turnpike Authority does not want to reveal what their plans are, because they're going to get a whole new set of people riled up about it if they come through their backyards.
That's I feel for you all, because just because it doesn't go through one person's living room, it's going to go through someone else's living room. And here we already have 13 turnpikes.
11.
Why did you say 13?
No, 11. It's 11 turnpikes. 3 of them are the ones that are paying the bill for all 11.
Okay.
So
whatever.
That's okay.
Is that higher math? I actually read that somewhere, but somewhere else. So like the Norman transcript or something. So maybe they misquoted you too.
Well, maybe it'll be 13 when they add the new ones.
That's what, yes.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, you're off the hook.
It will be 13 that's what we're going to have. But then it would be more miles, so waste of time. All right, here we go. So it's called Access Oklahoma. The Oklahoma Turnpike Authority claims we need this because
they need more bonds issued to pay for the turnpikes they can't pay for now. They believe that we need more turnpikes, that we need bypasses around. We believe that these new turnpikes will just create what's called induced demand, that they will make the gridlock on I-35 worse, not better. Especially when they open if they open from Newcastle to I-35, that's not going to relieve traffic. That'll just bring more traffic.
Bring more traffic to the mainstream, yes. So, Tassie, what is your responsibility? What is your role now? The open meetings lawsuit happened, and I'm not...
Well, we won big in district court. On summary judgment on all counts, it was a big win. And the legal ruling from, I believe it was Judge Olson, the exact language was, the OTA's case has no legal merit. And so with that preface, I want you to jump ahead to when the state Supreme Court overturned our case. And what does it take for this supposedly most prestigious court in the state to take a case that the district judge said has no legal merit and overturn it? Something smells very bad here.
And so it's very suspicious, isn't it?
It is. No part of this passes the smell test, not the advanced planning, not the failure to notify the community, the city council. I recently got some open records from OTA that says it showed very clearly they were planning this in the summer of 2021. They called it Driving Forward 2. But then when it was presented to the public in February of 2022, the exact language used was, these plans are only 9 days old. So again, no part of this passes any kind of smell test, and the more I dig into the research, the worse it all looks.
So, jumping way ahead, is there hope that citizens can really defeat the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority?
I have not yet begun to fight. Yes, there's hope. Absolutely, there's hope. We wouldn't continue this battle if we didn't think there was hope. Now, we were certainly deflated when the Supreme Court came out against us. In fact, I was actually sitting in the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority board meeting when it was announced, and our few dissidents in that meeting were very disappointed, but the rest of the room was quite elated. But there are many other avenues that we are looking at this time. And again, like Tassie said, environmental issues are definitely a concern. And we believe that the Army Corps of Engineers might certainly have some concerns about crossing the Canadian River. Is it the Canadian River there, or is it the Oklahoma River? Whatever. Crossing it between Newcastle all the way over to I-35 where it connects into Norman.
That would be Canadian. It's only Oklahoma where they try out for the Olympics. Okay.
Yes. Well, I that always perplexed me that it's a Canadian river this far south anyway.
We just change the names to fit the mission, don't we?
Yes.
So, Tassie, Randy and I have been talking about this for a couple of years now, and he gives me these updates. And it seems like anytime we talk about something, you all discover some new underhanded, or that's kind of not mean, some new strategy to not do their due diligence. They haven't done an environmental study, correct?
Not an environmental impact study. Am I correct on that?
That's right. And that's what we want, because that takes some time and it will actually have some teeth. So they're, of course, trying to avoid it because, like Thunderbird is right there. We're on Wellwater in East Norman. Like, it's a terrible place to put a highway. And I think at some level they know that. So they're trying to avoid, getting into that issue.
And the Board of Reclamation said, no, you can't go through the watershed.
Yes, the Bureau of Reclamation, which is a federal agency that owns Lake Thunderbird, it's operated by the Central Oklahoma Master Conservancy District on behalf of the Bureau of Reclamation. They said, no, absolutely not. You may not go across our fee title land. Now, they will be able to go across the Bureau of Reclamation's easement land, but the easement land is owned privately, but it's under the restrictions of the easement of the Bureau of Reclamation. So if the Turnpike Authority does go across those lands, then they will be required to maintain the standards of those easements that the Bureau of Reclamation maintains. They basically can't change the topography of the easement lands.
I mean, at the same time, we don't know who would enforce that. And I feel like the OTA loves to exploit any kind of ambiguity in enforcement or jurisdiction. So I would not trust them to maintain the integrity of the landscape.
Well,
personally.
I have spoken with some people at the Bureau of Reclamation, and they will be on top of that as it's occurring, if it's occurring. But the Turnpike Authority, as I understand it, will not have to ask for permission to go across that land, but they will be under the scrutiny of the Bureau of Reclamation to maintain the proper guidelines.
Randy Carter is here. He is the Director of Strategic Communication for the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation. Tassie Hirschfeld is also here. She is part of this organization, and they are a citizens group fighting 3 turnpike plans that will wreck their homes, just to say it very quickly. And we are going to talk more about this because if you look at the Kickapoo Turnpike, the drainage and all that, it has not been positive. It's called Access Oklahoma. We like to call it Excess. I'm Gwin Faulconer-Lippert. You're listening to 1000 KTOK. Access Oklahoma is a plan by the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority, which, just by the way, there was one guy running all 3 parts of that, the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. Let me come and jump in here. Yeah, the Secretary of Transportation and
ODOT, Oklahoma Department of Transportation.
One man running all 3 parts of government.
That is correct.
Which, thank goodness for Gettner Drummond, who went back and looked at our Constitution and said, you can't do that.
Well, and we also want to thank Senator Mary Bourne, for the one that brought that to his attention and asked for the ruling.
Yes. Those are the dulcet tones of Randy Carter, Director of Strategic Communications for the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation. He's brought with him tonight a new friend, Tassie Hirschfeld, who has been leading the way, and may he rest in peace with Stan Ward. And, I have said this once, Tassie, but I'm going to say it again. That Turnpike Authority doesn't know who they're messing with. They think you all were just corn farmers out by the side of town, and they don't know that you all are PhDs and attorneys and communications experts and all this. And I am so proud of you all for standing up with your rights. So let's talk about...
Well, if you remember talking about farmland, Governor Stitt, I believe, in the opening, when they announced this, he said, it's just farmland, as if farmland is something to be disparaged in the first place.
Yeah, well, Governor Stitt also said, we've been doing it all these years. Why do we have to change now?
That's exactly right. Well, that's what he said about the Secretary of Transportation as well.
Why, we've been doing this for years, but what's the law?
Yeah. Well, my mom said I could jump off the cliff.
Have you been working on your impersonation of the governor for a while?
No. Oh, gosh.
Okay, so you, as a citizens group, how many volunteer members do you have? A couple of hundred?
Oh, my goodness, it fluctuates. We have lots of people doing lots of different things. Gosh, I don't know whether we could count a number because...
Well, we have a lot of reserves that we can draw on. If we want to bring a crowd to a protest, it's very easy to mobilize people. And so in terms of the core group, we're fluid, but we do have a lot of numbers and a lot of strength.
Well, and people want to be a part of this because it's just not right. It's not how you treat people and their homes and their property and their families to design a thing that's going to rob them of their livelihood and all that. Oh, no, Gwin, they're going to pay for those. No. So what are your rights?
Well, actually, you're talking about rights. And right now, we have a bunch of our people that have just received certified letters from the Turnpike Authority, I believe through their contractor that is managing the project for the Turnpike Authority because they don't have the people to manage the project. Anyway, they've received certified letters asking for, I don't believe they asked for permission. They just said that they were going to have surveyors and engineers come on their property to do some testing.
Their MO is always to say, you must obey us. And I think we are the first group in a sustained way to say, no, we have rights.
So technically you don't have to let them on your property?
Well, and that's what the issue is right now. We believe that the law is on our side, that no, we can deny them permission to go on. But I believe that they think they don't have to have that permission. So there may be the people that got letters said that they would be coming on or around the 17th of this month, I believe is what it is. So, we'll see exactly what happens coming the 17th and after. But a number of our people have put up signs that say no trespassing, and they've quoted the state statute that supports the side of the issue that says, no, you cannot come on. But I believe the Turnpike believes that there's some law on their side that says, yes, they do have access. So, again,
will you go to court for that?
I don't know what will happen.
We do have a number of attorneys who are standing by should we need to draw on them. And there are two statutes that both seem to contradict each other. One says the Turnpike Authority can come and survey if it needs to, and the other says nobody can come and survey on your property if you don't give them permission.
And which is older? Which?
I actually don't know.
Well, I bet we all know soon.
Yeah. It's subject to interpretation. But our people certainly want to exercise their interpretation of those, what they believe their rights are.
Well, and if my memory serves me correctly, it is near Toby Keith's land, and he posted a big old sign before he passed away that said, no turnpikes.
Yeah, he has a no turnpike sign standing in the front corner right there at 36th and Franklin Road. It would be, the way they've proposed that section, it would probably be about a half a mile to 3/4 mile north of his home. But he also owns that Belmar golf course that's right there that butts right up to Indian Hills Road that has a golf course and lots of homes and condos and that sort of thing. So it would affect them directly.
So there's so much more to talk about, and I am so grateful that Tassie and Randy are here with me in studio. I'm going to have to pause for an update from Fox News, but we are talking about the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority and the fact that they have come up with a design to add turnpikes through Cleveland County and add to our already turnpike system.
Unnecessary and unwanted turnpikes.
That doesn't pay for itself.
That's right.
And all those things. And so they have named it Access Oklahoma. I have named it Excess Oklahoma. And we're going to let Randy and Tassie tell us more about that and how they have mismanaged their money and other things. So stick around. You're listening to 1000 KTOK. I'm Gwin Faulconer-Lippert. Talking about the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority and the fact that they have introduced a program called Access Oklahoma. If you talk to anyone that's in the know, you will realize it would be better named Excess Oklahoma, in that Oklahoma has more turnpike miles per capita than anyone else. And who pays for the turnpikes? Well, if you drive on the turnpike, yes, you pay for it. But more than that, if you want to go to Tulsa, there's no fast way to get to Tulsa except on the Turnpike. Here with me in studio is Randy Carter. He is the Director of Strategic Communication for the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation, and Tassie Hirschfeld, who was the lead plaintiff in the open meetings lawsuit and is also a member of this organization. What do they share? They both live in a part of East Norman that is impacted by the design of these excess turnpikes. And if I could add to this, the east-west connector is really Indian Hills Road, isn't it?
Basically, it connects as it's proposed to cross the river. And the city limits of Norman and Moore, they're really kind of gerrymandered in there. But it connects to Norman on the west side coming across the river. And then somewhere just as it crosses east of I-35, then it will go back south of Indian Hills Road.
There are already homes there. Oh, gosh, I forgot that part. There are already homes there. They don't care, do they?
It appears not, yes. I think there are already a lot of homes. Well, and our people have projected that there are over 600 properties that will be affected by this proposed turnpike. 600 families kicked off of their property, displaced. Yeah, exactly.
And so to the naysayer that says, but they're going to pay you for that property, what do you say?
Well, gosh, the fair market value is not the same as replacement value. There's no way that if they were to pay me fair market value for my property, that I would be able to go out and purchase something similar, the number of acres and the amenities, the buildings, the outbuildings, and all that sort of thing that I've put into this home. They would just look at it based on square footage. Now, I don't know if you remember just recently, the Brewer family in the Kickapoo area just won a very large lawsuit against the Turnpike Authority, which I think, from what I've heard, the Turnpike Authority is likely to appeal that.
Well, they will.
Which is just going to drag it out even further for these people ever getting paid for their property that was taken.
But their property should increase in value while they're dragging it out, wouldn't it?
They won an additional, I believe, $2 million on top of what OTA originally offered them. I mean, that's not a small amount.
No.
And at least for me, it says that, and I've heard this from other people who lost homes, that OTA likes to do lowball offers, and then they put all of the burden of suffering from uncertainty, from legal fees, from having to live in temporary housing. And this took years to resolve. So they know that most people just don't have the resources to do that. And then that makes it easier for them to get away with underpaying.
Unless you get elected.
Are you running?
I am not.
No, I'm referring to a certain issue that happened very early on where a certain elected official was
got a very plum price for her home.
Was it like $100,000 worth for a pecan tree?
Something like that.
So,
that was someone on the transportation committee. So they're very strategic.
So she was on the committee and they bought her property at
one of the first ones, yes.
Wow. Mm-hmm. More than market value.
Mm-hmm. So they definitely know how to cultivate friends and punish people who challenge them.
And so what is the upshot of this? What can we say to give people hope? Well, that we're going to pay more toll on the toll roads. That's what it was, wasn't it?
Well, we've seen some internal communication from the Turnpike Authority that has announced basically their plan. I believe it was to raise all the tolls 10% once things were in motion, and then every other year to raise them another 6%. And, of course, that's likely to change as we move on. So, basically, you're going to be paying more. And actually, they've gone to this plate pay system, which, interestingly enough, they have announced at their meetings that the plate pay system was only collecting, I believe, 50% of what the tolls were before.
Yes, it's a failure.
Yeah, yeah. And they're having the issue with the tribal tags are in constant. Of course, the governor hasn't gotten along well with the Indian tribes for quite some time, but this is an issue with the tribes as far as revealing the tag numbers and that sort of thing. But another thing that's happened that I think is, to me, it's an atrocity. The Turnpike Authority can put a hold on your tag renewal if you don't pay the tolls. You go to the tag agency to renew your tag, and they say, oh, no, you have to pay these tolls before you can renew your tag, but you can't pay the tolls there.
You have to go to the Pike Pass office.
You have to leave, go back. They will work with you over the phone.
Oh, I'm going to say, I collect Google reviews and Yelp reviews from people who've tried to get their problems resolved on the phone but gotten nowhere, waited on hold forever, got booted around. And the level of consumer complaints that you can just find online, there are new ones all the time, suggests that no part of this works well. The plate pay overcharges people, charges people who don't even have
that car.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's
and then you have to prove that you never had that car.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all the burden on the consumer. Nobody has the time or energy. It's almost like it's bad by design. And that we've gone back and looked. It appears they did not do any feasibility studies for plate pay, which could have led them to anticipate these problems.
Okay, wait. No feasibility
Not
study.
that we can find evidence of.
No environmental impact study on any of these turnpikes, and no legislative approval for the Kickapoo at all.
Or the Gilcrease.
Or the Gilcrease?
Or the Gilcrease.
Well, so what are they doing? Just what they want to do?
Pretty much.
Gee, it sounds like that you've got your finger right on the issue here.
I hear a country western song coming on.
Can I give you a quote? Because I found this is from 1993 from State Senator Dave Herbert. God bless his soul. And he was mad at the OTA, and he said, everyone in the state should become involved and concerned with how they manage money. He said they build roads wherever they want. They don't care where it goes, just as long as they can issue the bonds for roads. So I think he was rather prescient in saying that in 1993, and I'm very sorry that no one in authority listened to him.
Sounds like a Ponzi scheme.
Oh, gee, we've heard that term. In fact, I've explained to numerous legislators at the Capitol about what is going on, and those were their words. They said the word Ponzi scheme. So, yes.
Well, especially because I'm sad to say Oklahomans voted to let the Turnpike Authority take the money that they make from a turnpike that makes money and apply it to one that doesn't.
Actually, Oklahomans didn't.
What?
There is a little asterisk there, and there were some shenanigans. Now, unfortunately, I did not bring the full breakdown, but we have a number of researchers who are looking into all these historical documents, and it did not actually go down that way. If you invite me back, I'll bring the details.
Yeah, hey, come tomorrow, but that's crazy.
And I don't think they know their own history.
Why do we think we passed that?
Because they tell us. That's what they tell us all the time. They will respond to Facebook criticism by citing that. But again, they don't seem to know their own history. The more you look, the worse it appears. And I think that they have a vested interest in a certain historic amnesia or a strategic forgetting or a strategic reinterpretation of what actually happened.
Wow. We're going to ponder this while we have a commercial break. Randy Carter is here. He is the Director of Strategic Communication for the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation. Tassie Hirschfeld is the researcher extraordinaire, and I can hardly wait to hear more. You're listening to KTOK in Oklahoma City. I'm Gwin Faulconer-Lippert. Randy Carter is the Director of Strategic Communications for the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation. Now, that's their official foundation name, correct, Randy?
We are Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation Foundation,
right,
which is a 501c3. Any contributions to that would be tax deductible. And we also have a pikeoffota, which is a 501c4.
That's the juicy website.
Yes, yes.
Or No More Turnpikes Facebook.
Yes, yes, that is correct. Those are all ways to get in touch with us. So,
and he has brought Tassie Hirschfeld, and she is here. She was the lead plaintiff in the open meetings lawsuit against the Turnpike Authority, and you were quoted as saying they had willful deception, and I take it that you still think that, right?
Absolutely. Every piece of documentation I've received via open records since that ruling only shows more willful deception. This was clearly in the planning process very early in 2021. They lied to us repeatedly and said it was, the day they unveiled it was February, and that was brand new at that point. But
February 22.
February 22nd, 2022.
Wow. February 2022.
Yes. 2022. Yes. And here we are, 24, fighting this. Have they surveyed your property, Randy?
No. In fact, my property is connected to the Bureau of Reclamation land, and that is something that they have not announced. They have said that they are going to be involved in a realignment of the southern extension. What that means exactly, we don't know for sure, but it means that they're not sure where it's going to be.
So the turnpike of preference right now would be probably the east-west connector.
That's what they're working on. They have reinstituted engineering on portions of the east-west connector. They have back when the open meetings suit was active and going on, they announced that they were stopping all work on the access program at that time. And just recently, I believe it was this spring, they announced that they are starting back up the engineering on the east-west connector from Newcastle to about east of I-35. Yes,
right.
Yeah. And just, I believe last week, they announced that they were starting engineering back up on the part where it connects to I-40 at the Kickapoo, going west a couple of miles. And I don't know the exact location, but if you look at their map,
But the south part is
the
not.
south part has not. In their announcement, they said they were looking at they were going to have to do realignment of the southern extension.
There are rumors that they're planning to move it to around 60th, between 48th and 60th, which would still be devastating to hundreds of families.
Those are neighborhoods.
Yes, they are established neighborhoods.
Well, they're all neighborhoods from 84th west into the main part of the city of Norman. They're all neighborhoods in there. I mean, they're large neighborhoods, and by city ordinance, I believe it's an ordinance, they cannot now build a new home on any less than 10 acres. A citizen can't build. They will not zone it to allow you to build a home. From 48th east to the lake.
To leave room for the turnpike?
No.
That's to protect the watershed.
To protect the watershed.
So that will go away, and the watershed will not only be unprotected, it will be ravaged by chemical spills and runoff.
One of the other things that came out recently for the east-west connector was that if you're a small town or a small community along that frontage or whatever, that town or that entity would be expected to build the service roads to access that. And I got that firsthand from Oklahoma County Commissioner Chair Brian Mon.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. But interestingly enough, I think that the Turnpike Authority is being a little bit vague about those access roads and how that's going to happen, because there was a Senate joint resolution that was recently passed by the legislature that's going to put a state question on the ballot in the fall. It's SJR 16, and what that's going to do is going to allow property owners to establish an infrastructure tax district to pay for the infrastructure
More taxes
on a particular piece of property. And interestingly enough, it has to be 100% of the property owners in this district in order to get the city to approve the infrastructure tax district. And that's going to be which means that what's going to happen, in my estimation, is that the Turnpike Authority, in the process of eminent domain or the threat of an eminent domain, will take these properties, and then once the turnpike route is decided, they will declare all this other land as surplus land. They will then sell it to a developer, one developer who will have 100% of the vote to create an infrastructure tax district. Then what happens after that tax district is instituted, bonds will be sold, and then those bonds will be repaid by an additional millage on the property owners of the eventual property owners when that's subdivided and sold to either homeowners or commercial property owners. Then that will be added onto their tax base.
And we think HOAs are bad.
Yeah.
Well, I mentioned the county commissioners.
Yes.
How do they feel about
Well,
this?
interestingly enough, you asked that question. I've become aware that Oklahoma County Commissioner Miles Davidson has it was actually on the agenda for last Wednesday, when they were going to meet, and Commissioner Davidson was not at the meeting. His deputy was there in his place. But it's a resolution of Oklahoma County declaring support for the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority Access Program, blah, 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 blah. And it was postponed. The Commissioner Davidson's assistant asked to have that vote postponed until Commissioner Davidson could be back. And now, as I understand it, it's going to be on the agenda for this meeting this Tuesday. Normally they meet on Wednesday, but this week Wednesday is a federal holiday, so they're meeting on Tuesday.
And so the county commissioners are supporting?
No. There is a resolution before the commission to ask them to vote on this resolution to support the Access Oklahoma program. So it could conceivably come up for a vote on Tuesday, 9 o'clock at the Oklahoma County Commissioners meeting. I plan on being there to voice my opposition to that, and would certainly be welcoming anybody else who would want to voice that opinion to be there as well. They meet at, where is it?
I think Oklahoma County Courthouse.
Yeah, Oklahoma County Courthouse. I've got the address here somewhere. I'm mildly prepared.
Do they meet at 9 o'clock?
They meet at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And it is at 320 Robert S. Kerr, the commissioner's meeting room on the second floor.
And you need to go early because they do have strict security. And you have to go through all the,
Well, maybe I can walk in backwards. Y'all think I'm leaving?
Yes.
Well, yes, please be there if you're opposed to.
Well, let me thank Tassie Hirschfeld for coming, and thank you, Randy. I know it's a trek for you all to come up from Norman, but it's just so much more insightful to have you here and to hear what you have to say. And Tassie, I am going to invite you back because I know you have done so much research, and there's so much more to know about how the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority is being managed or mismanaged. And you have proof of this, right?
Yeah, it's not hard to find. And the big question is, with all of this evidence lying around, why hasn't anyone done anything? And that, to me, is the big mystery, because this is not a well-run agency. It never has been. And it just raises a lot of questions about integrity in government.
It never has been.
Never has been.
And they didn't expect it to ever come up either. Right. They expected to just go along like they've always done, and nobody's been paying attention to them until this came up.
So can anyone get one of your signs that says no turnpike authority people on my land or what?
pikeoffota.com. There's a place that you can order signs on there, yes. And if you would love to contribute to our cause, we would certainly appreciate there's a donate button too. So
at pikeoffota.com.
Yes.
We are an all-volunteer organization, and we would greatly appreciate any contributions anybody might make.
Well, you all are my heroes. And I as I said, what an incredible group of minds and talent and heart. And I admire you so much. I hope you continue to hang in there, and I will continue to do my part. How about that? Here with me in studio is Randy Carter. He is the Director of Strategic Communication for the Oklahomans for Responsible Transportation, and Tassie Hirschfeld, who was the lead plaintiff in the open meetings lawsuit and is also a member of this organization. What do they share? They both live in a part of East Norman that is impacted by the design of these excess turnpikes.